Hi all, I'm Tom, and I'd like to take you back now to 1995. Now, if you're playing Star Wars CCG in 1995, you might have opened your first pack and gotten a character like this. And you might have thought, neat, this alien from the cantina now has a name and a backstory that's really fun. And then you open your second pack and you get another alien from the cantina and you're like, oh, okay, this alien has a name and a backstory and that's interesting. And then you opened a lot more packs and you kept not getting the recognizable characters. One really nice thing I feel about the current era of the Star Wars CCG is that it's so much easier to play a deck with recognizable characters thanks to virtual cards, and have these decks be really thematic and draw on years and years of game design knowledge to just be fun, interesting decks to play. And that's why I'd like to introduce you to one of my favorite platforms in the Star Wars CCG, Skywalker Saga. All Skywalker Saga decks are built around this card, The Force is Strong in My Family. This card asks you, as part of your deck building, to pick an era. The Clone Wars, the original trilogy, or the sequels. And depending on which one you pick, you're limited to playing sort of the iconic master and apprentice from that era. So you don't get all the various Jedi that you can play in this game, but you get some really interesting benefits in return. In particular, you are rewarded for attacking and being aggressive and interacting with the opponent. So the decks we're going to talk about here are really exciting decks to play, and I think they're just a ton of fun. Let's begin with the My Father Has It variant, which is all about Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone Wars. Now, each one of these decks gets to play two really exciting effects at the start of the game. One of them that's shared across all of these decks is Best Star Pilot in the Galaxy, which lets Skywalker Saga decks set up a presence in space with an effective pilot and a good ship. In addition, the My Father Has It variant, which is often called Anakin Saga, or Anakin Family, because Anakin is the focal character of this deck, gets to play Your Thoughts Dwell on Your Mother. The big effect of this card is that it lets you draw and redraw Anakin's lightsaber. So your best character is carrying his signature weapon and going into battle fully equipped, ready to bring down the dark side. Now, this particular variant of Anakin Saga, and forgive me, you can see the original pilot of this deck's name here. I've tried, but I'm not confident in my pronunciation, but I want to give credit where credit is due. Has built this very aggressive version of the deck. So it's got a couple copies of Anakin Skywalker Jedi Knight, a very powerful character who's very difficult to remove from the table and does a ton of damage. In addition, he has several versions of Anakin Skywalker Padawan Learner, who's really good with the lightsaber and good at removing dark side main characters. In addition, you see some other characters, notably Luke with lightsaber, who really reward you for getting in there and attacking. Because you can use this card, A Jedi's Resilience, to bring any character with a lightsaber back to your hand, and there's 4 copies of this card. So the dynamic of the deck is that you have this powerful attacker backed up potentially with really strong help from characters like Lando Calrissian, Rey, and potentially Padme, you do a ton of damage to the dark side. Hopefully, you overflow them, take away some of their life force, and then you use a Jedi's resilience to reset so you can do it again. And the deck just hammers away at the opponent. So this is a very aggressive deck, a ton of fun to play. One interesting note about Anakin Saga. If you're a newer player, this is a very accessible deck. The most exciting main characters you're playing, Anakin Skywalker, Rey, these are virtual cards, so they go over cheap cards, very easy to buy. There are, in this deck, a couple of more expensive cards. Lando Calrissian, in this particular version, is a little pricier. Rebel Leadership down here can be a little pricey, but these are cards that go into many different decks. So you can buy into Anakin Saga, play it at an event, really have a good time, and then be well positioned to pivot to a different deck as you continue playing the game. The second version of Skywalker Saga here is the I Have It variant, which is focused on Luke Skywalker. Now, your thoughts dwell on your mother. The previous version, the Anakin Saga version, allows you to redraw your destinies when you draw an Anakin Skywalker. So you flip over this card, oh no, it's a 1 destiny, that's not good, but you can just draw past it to something different. And so often with Anakin Saga, you'll end up drawing a 4 or a 5, and that's solid. The big benefit of Luke Saga is that Luke Skywalker here is a 6 destiny in this version of the card that represents Luke in the throne room of the second Death Star at the pivotal moment of the original trilogy. So instead of drawing past a 1 to get a 4 or a 5, you just get to play a whole bunch of 6s. There's not a lot of decks that can play a powerful character who's also super high destiny. So this deck is doing a lot of similar things to Anakin Saga. It gets rewarded for being aggressive. It gets to set up a strong space presence with best star pilot in the galaxy. But in many cases, it gets to be even luckier, if you will, by drawing these 6 destinies a super strong effect. In addition, in place of your thoughts dwell on your mother, Luke Saga gets to play Like My Father Before Me, which gives you a whole bunch of bonuses for playing Luke Skywalker, including, again, the ability to get his lightsaber out of your deck, and a certain amount of deck manipulation, which if you're a high-skill player, you can use to give yourself resources and set yourself up for future turns, tracking your destinies through the deck. So a very interesting card. In many ways, this is a deck that grows with you as a player. The last version of Skywalker Saga is Rey Saga. Now you'll notice this isn't really a deck, it's a couple of cards. I think it's fair to say that no one's quite cracked Rey Saga yet. Again, it gets to do some super strong things, like start out with a version of the Millennium Falcon in play, ready to deploy for free. We haven't seen the top-tier competitive version of Rey Saga, but that means maybe that if you're someone who enjoys brewing your own decks, Rey Saga could be a really fun area to explore. And so that's Skywalker Saga. I hope you found this informative, and I hope it's inspired you to try this archetype out. I really think it's a super fun way to play the game. May the Force be with you, in the form of a powerful Jedi who's really good at fighting the dark side.